God is good to us.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. God is good.
Thank you, Lord Jesus.
To us.
Yes.
And how many of y'all love God?
Hallelujah.
If you love Him, you'll praise Him. If you love Him, you'll praise Him. We say we love Him, but we don't like to praise Him.
Say that, Bishop.
But we praise what we love. We praise who we love.
Yes, we do. God. Thank you, Jesus.
And I love to praise
Thank you, Lord Jesus.
the Lord.
Amen. Thank you, Lord Jesus.
I love to praise the Lord. I love to sing His praise. God is good to us, better to us than we are to ourselves.
Come on.
And sometimes, you know, when we won't praise ourselves, we don't think God deserves praise. But somebody just shout, Jesus, I love you.
Jesus, I love you.
See, that was a shout, man. I'm trying to tell you, I hate to hear your whisper. I said, somebody shout. That wasn't hard, was it? Do you love God?
Oh, yeah.
Do you love God? You say, well, I didn't answer you one time. I'm in one of them Jesus Peter modes right now. Jesus kept asking Peter, do you love me, Peter? Peter said, yeah, Lord, you know I love you. He said, feed me. He gave him a command. He gave him something to do. Anybody in the house, did y'all catch that? Did anybody in the house catch that? He gave him something to do.
Hallelujah.
If you love me,
Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus.
what did he tell him to do? Feed my sheep.
Thank you, God.
Did anybody in here love God?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jesus.
See, when you love God,
Thank you,
you ain't got no problem doing what he said do.
Come on.
Even to your own detriment, you still ain't got no problem doing what he said do. The thing is when we become in danger, that's when we start, hold up, Lord, I ain't gonna do all that right there. And we start to trip. We start to trip. But I'm still tripping off this blind man. But I ain't tripping so much off of him as the work that we have to do, that we have not began to do.
Say that.
Because we are not sure whether we love God.
Come on, yeah. It's good, Bishop.
That was tough, wasn't it?
Come on, Bishop.
He kept asking Peter, Peter, lovest thou me? Peter said, yeah, Lord, you know I love you. Jesus said, feed my lambs.
Yes.
And he turned around and he asked him again, Peter. He wasn't calling him Peter, he was calling him Simon. He was calling him his birth name, his earth name, Simon, son of Jonah, lovest thou me? Amen. Yeah, Lord, you know I love you. Feed my sheep. Looked at him again. Simon, son of Jonah. That would make you think I was preaching out of John, the 19th chapter, but I'm not. And he started cussing, you know I love you. Started tripping. You questioning my love for you. You know. You know everything.
Amen.
And he said, feed my lamb.
Amen.
And Peter's problem was he was distracted by John.
Yeah. Come on here.
He couldn't see the lamb or the sheep because he was too busy worried about what John was going to do. Ain't it something that we say we love God, but we can't do what God say do because we're too busy worried about somebody else.
Come on here. Amen.
We're too busy looking at everybody else. So now let me take you where I'm at. And so he says that his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents? I should know by now, right? I'm in John, but now I'm in the 9th chapter, and he says, Jesus answered, neither have this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him.
Come on here. Amen. Wow.
I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Was Jesus distracted by the Pharisees? Was he worried about what they was doing or what they was going to do? What about the Sadducees? I got this theory in my mind. I don't think God would have sent Jesus when he sent him if everybody hadn't sold everybody out. Everybody was looking for position. Everybody was looking for a name. They was looking for placement. They was trying to survive in the climate that they had created. And so instead of them working like God had called them to do and doing thus saith the Lord and letting what God said should come to pass, they start teaming up with other nations. And so when you start teaming up, when you start looking for your help from somewhere other than God, you stop doing the works of God, because you're going to have to come into an agreement with something that is not God, and therefore you're going to have to make a deal with them. If you do this for me, then I'll do that for you. And if I do that for you, then you got to do this for me. Now the thing is your thing that you put out there is easy for them to do because they know how you are supposed to be. But the thing is you don't know what they got up their sleeve, because you don't know how they are supposed to be. But the thing is you stop working for God and begin to work for somebody else, and the work became hard, or it became difficult, or it became almost impossible when somebody said, do the works of the Lord. And so when you go to do the works of God, you wind up always wondering what somebody else is going to do. What they going to do over here and what they going to do over here. Now you got to listen to something. Jesus said, I must work the works of him that sent me. And so he's working the works of God. Now God ain't here to do the work, but God gave him instruction on the work that needed to be done. And so Jesus is following the instructions of God. Forget about what the Pharisees doing, and forget about what the Sadducees doing. Forget about what the scribes and the elders and all of them folk are doing, because I got to work the works of who? Why do I have to work the works of him that sent me? Because I love him. When I love him, he says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. You will do what I said do. How is it that we stopped doing what God said and started doing what we wanted, or what we thought was right, or what we thought everybody else was doing, and then we got caught up in the quandary, in the quagmire of life, and all of a sudden now we're bogged down, now we're tripping all over the map, and we're trying to figure our way out of this thing. We know, come to church, get instructions, but the thing is when we go back into the world, we got to do what the world says do. What it says, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. Well, you're going to deal. You're not in Rome anymore. You are in the kingdom of God, and when you are in the kingdom of God, you must work the works of him that sent you while it is today, while it is daylight. When the night coming, when you ain't going to be able to do no, when the time is going to come when all you're going to be able to do is moan and groan. The time is coming when all you're going to be able to do is pray. You ain't going to be able to work a miracle because of the unbelief that's there. You ain't going to be able to pour out or speak a blessing because don't nobody believe nothing that's coming out your mouth. You're going to be sitting there saying, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute, hold up. How is it that all of these folk and nobody wants God? Because ain't nobody working the works.
Come out here.
See, I have been called by God, but I have to receive instruction from God.
Come out.
Once I receive instruction from God, then I got to wait on God to send me. If I never wait for him to send me, if I go, if I just go, see, he called me and I went, I ain't got no instructions. I ain't. See, so Jesus spends all of this time with God, and he comes down, and everybody now he calls spends time with him. How many of us are spending time with God?
Come on.
Huh? Oh, I heard silent, got quiet right there. How much time, how many of us are spending time with God? When you're spending time, I'm talking about time in His Word, time in prayer, time in worship, time in praise, time in service, time in honoring, time in lifting up, time in,
Come on, Bishop. Tell the truth, Bishop.
He got time.
Amen.
In living. But the thing is our thing is we looking for payday before we put the time in.
Come on.
I must work the works of Him that sent me. Jesus left before He was sent.
Amen. Come on here.
In the beginning, God said, let there be. He didn't say Jesus. He said, let there be. And Jesus, before God sent it, He lit up everything before His name was called.
Thank you, Jesus.
But He never left God's side.
Come on here.
But now He is sent into a dark world. How many of y'all walk in darkness? How many of y'all got stuff that happens that puts you in dark places? How many of you got stuff that you deal with that seem dark, that seem crazy? How many of you dealing with some stuff that you just don't understand? That your vision is obscured, your light is almost gone out. How many of you get to those places in life that you can't see your way through? How many? Come on, somebody. How many of you have ever been to a place where you can't see your way through? How many of you have been to a place where you can't see your way out of? How many of you have been to the place where you done almost throw your hands up in the air and say, Lord, I don't know what else to do, and you just say, I might as well just give. How many? Come on, see, y'all sitting up in here like, okay, not me, but yes, you, guess what? Yes, you and me and them done all done it, because we have all been in that place where we didn't know which way to turn, we didn't know who to call, we didn't know who to tap, we didn't know who could help us, and we just sat down and just said, we might as well forget it. How many y'all? So in here, in this thing, the assignment that God gives Jesus is not too hard for Jesus. It's because Jesus spent time with God. He says, I must do all that I see my Father do.
Come on here.
If you ain't seen God do it, no, why are you trying to do it?
Amen.
If you ain't heard God speak it, why are you trying to do it?
Come on here.
You say, there you go, busting us up again. No. Here's the thing. In order to work the works, you got to first see Him. You got to spend time with Him.
Amen.
You can't work what you don't know.
Amen.
Say that. That's right.
Amen.
It's almost like trying to get what you ain't got to get with.
Wow.
I must work the works of Him. Do you love me, Peter? Yeah, Lord.
Oh, yes.
Why you ain't feed why my lambs starving to death, Peter?
Come on here.
Why my baby lambs getting ate up by the wolves, Peter? Why the sheep getting ran over by the goats, Peter? Why is everything in disarray, Peter? Why is the brethren getting weaker, Peter? Why is the...
Come on here. Why? You talking.
See, we got some grown sheep that won't strengthen their brethren because their mind ain't been converted.
Come on, Bishop.
Converted.
Tell the truth, Bishop.
Oh.
And so what we tend to do is we tend to look down on them or browbeat them or mistreat them in some fashion that makes them want to back up from the church. They don't want to come into the fold. They rather stay out there and take their chances.
Amen.
But Jesus says, ain't nobody sitting in the man's house. How many of you know that there's some stuff that can happen in your life that sin don't cause?
Come on, absolutely.
Okay? So now if some stuff that can happen in your life that sin ain't got nothing to do with it, what you do?
Amen.
How many of y'all have heard, I know y'all have heard of it, but I'm going to ask a question. How many of y'all have heard touching and agreeing? God dropped this on me, it tripped me out. Touch and agree with somebody right now.
Amen.
Now, do y'all understand what you're doing? You are just touching flesh to flesh. It's what's going on in the spirit. If your spirit does not agree,
Amen.
ain't nothing gonna happen.
Amen.
So you just say, you grab somebody, say, touch and agree with me, child. I need somebody to touch and agree with me. And your flesh is touching in agreement, and ain't nothing happening. But if the spirits connect, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. For the night coming. In other words, me and my daddy are in agreement.
Yeah.
Spirit to spirit, heart to heart, breast to breast. What's that? Shake together, run over. What we do? When it don't happen, child, you know they weren't right in the first place.
That's what they say. What they say, bitch.
Now you say, what does Peter have so much to do with this? Because Peter can't work the works unless he has the love of God.
Amen.
Thank you, God.
In his heart. We don't work the works because we don't have the love.
Say that.
See, for God so loved the world that he gave us something that loved the world like he did.
Amen.
See, God loved us, and so Jesus loved us the same. He loved us like God loved us. God said, I love you so much that I'm going to give you my son, the best thing that I got, and I'm going to give him to you, and he's going to die for you to prove to you how much we love you.
Amen.
Now, the thing is that listen, and he says, to whom loveth little, but the one that loves much, how much do you love God? Because the man ain't sin, his parents ain't sin, but Jesus said that God may be glorified.
Yes.
I get to looking at the text and I keep looking at it, I keep looking at it. Lord, why you keep sending me back here? Because he said, I want you to be able to see that the man's eyes wasn't just anointed, that they were made by the anointing.
Yes.
I left his eyes out on purpose so that I could make him a set of eyes in front of everybody and then put him in place so that after he came back from the washing that he could come back seeing, and everybody will ask him, how does he see? And he will be able to say with his own mouth that the man named Jesus made me some eyes out of the clay and anointed me and told me to go and wash and came I come back seeing. Every time he testifies, he says that God made something had to be done. God loved him enough. He said, oh, I remember I left his eyes out on purpose. Let me go back and...
Amen.
My God.
Amen.
Peter, do you love me? Lord, you know I love you. Because you don't hear about Peter's works until way after Paul had started his ministry. And Paul is a latecomer. He is a Pharisee converted over into Christianity. and he is working works of God, and God is getting glory, and Paul is pulling handkerchiefs off of him, and people are getting healed. He's casting out. He's doing everything that the disciples of the original apostles were supposed to have been doing, and he's doing them, and he wasn't even there. He wasn't even there. He wasn't an apostle. He wasn't a disciple. He wasn't a follower. He was a Pharisee. He was a persecutor. He was a lawyer that believed in judging the people for their failures. Y'all know any of them? He was an injurious person. Lock him up if they called on the name of Jesus. Stone him if they called on the name of Jesus. Put him in prison. Do whatever you got to do, but don't let him call on that. This is Paul. This is Paul. Before he was Paul, he was Saul. He was a natural man, and all he believed in was his religious status. All he believed was his seat. All he believed that he was a student of Gamaliel. All he believed, and he said, persecute.
Come on. Say that. Yes, Jesus.
And he's doing the works, and Peter and the rest of the fellas hiding out. The church is hiding out.
Amen, Bishop. My God.
And to prove to us that the church is hiding out, when they take Jesus into the judgment hall, and we're going to reenact it again in a couple of weeks, we're going to be sitting outside, and somebody going to ask us, you was with him, wasn't you? You was one of them. And we're going to be sitting up to my, no, not me. I don't go to that church. I don't follow that preacher. I don't hang out with those people. The church ain't right. The church hurt me. The church bruised me. Oh, y'all know what I'm talking about. The ones that walk around to me, I've been church hurt. I don't go to church no more. Because the people in the church ain't right. The people in the church just as messed up as I am. The preacher is just a bigger sinner as I am. What can the church do for me? But let trouble hit your house hard enough. You'll be in the church. But not only in the church, you'll be at the altar. You'll be saying, somebody pray for me. God up in here. You'll look for somebody that touch in agreement with you. And won't it be funny that God asks you, lovest thou me more than these?
My God.
Peter hiding out. They say, you one of them. How is it that we can deny God on the job that God gave us? How is it that we can deny God in the restaurant when we sit down to eat the food that God gave us? How is it that we can deny God in the clothing store with the money that God gave us to buy the clothes? You say, what you talking about, Bishop? Every time God puts a blessing on your life, take for instance, you sit down to eat. Some reason or another, you forgot to bless the food. You forgot to give thanks. The only thing you was thinking about was your own self. Lord, I'm so hungry. I could eat a cow. And ain't it only funny that God is able, enabled you to order a steak. I'm so hungry that I could eat a and you're sitting there eating cow, but you never tell God thank you for this food that you gave me. You never tell God thank you in the morning when you get up running late. Oh God, you just get up and say, Lord, I'm running late, and God holds time in place. Ain't it funny that when you leave the doctor's office with a good report, you don't remember to say thank you until after somebody asks you how did it went. And then you say God is good. But wait a minute, as soon as the doctor released you, you should have told God thank you. When the doctor told you all was clear, you should have broke out in your happy dance. When God told the doctor, tell him that cancer and can't do nothing here, you should have jumped up and shouted. I got hit with vertigo this week. And God said, son, lay down. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to get up to preach God's word this morning. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. For the night coming, and ain't nobody going to be able to work. Then I'm looking at Peter again. And he said, Peter, Satan have desired to sift you as wheat. But don't worry, Peter. I prayed for you. And when you are strengthened, oh God up in here. Let me tell you that when you are converted, when you stop thinking crazy, when you stop worrying about what somebody else doing, when you stop worrying about what somebody else got, when you stop worrying about how long they gonna stand there, when you worrying about what they ain't doing, or what they about to do. Because Peter turned around and looked at Jesus and said, well, what about this fella? He didn't even call John's name. Now they partners, but he wouldn't even recognize him. How many of you, when you get about to get got to do something, you don't even recognize the person that you're with? You all you worried about is you. What about them, Lord? And it's something that you forgot my name when God called you out. But in all time that you was blaming me, you knew my name. Bishop Keaton this, Bishop Keaton that. Bishop Keaton, and then God said, well, you do it. You say, well, what about him? Oh, God up in here. And it's something that you know my name until it's time for you to do something. Well, let Bishop do it. Not this time. God say, you do it. He said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. He said, do you love me? He said, take care of my church. He said, do you love me? Take care of my people. He said, do you love me? Clothe the naked. If you love me, feed the hungry. If you love me, visit the sick. If you love me, go to the jailhouse. If you love me, go into the highways and hedges. If you love me, compel somebody to come. Do you love me? What about him? Jesus said, what business is that of yours? If he tarry till I come back. If I want him to live forever, do you want somebody to live forever? If he tarry till I come back, what business of that is yours? Do you love me? Don't worry about whether he loves me. Don't worry about whether she loves me. Don't worry about what I got them doing. Don't worry about what I told them to do. For all you know, they praying for you. Oh, God. And then I seen Jesus go to work again. And from the time that Jesus got here until the time that Jesus left here, now I just stopped in the middle of John and I looked in the rear and I looked in the future. And I seen Jesus working that thing out. And Jesus came in the world, and the world received him not, but to as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. Is there anybody in here, a son or a daughter? When you received him, you became a son. You say, well, who are the first sons? How about them three wise men that followed that star? How about them three shepherd boys that was out in that field? How about his mama and daddy that brought him, hid him away, allowed him to be born in a manger? Then he came down a few years later, stopped by the Feast of Tabernacles and began to instruct the lawyers and the Sadducees and Pharisees. Mom and daddy looking for him.